Okay, so sedimentary rock. So this is our second type of rock that we're going to talk about. So food for thought. Have you ever tried to build a sandcastle at the beach? Ever think of where all that sand came from? So if you did, we're about to discuss it. All right, so origins of sedimentary rock. So, wind, water, ice, sunlight, and gravity all cause rock to weather into fragments called sediments. So, it takes them, it breaks them apart into smaller pieces called sediments. Sedimentary rocks form from sediments deposited by water and wind. So, after sediment has been deposited or left behind, the processes of compaction and cementation change the sediment into sedimentary rock. Typically, and you can kind of see in the background of the slide, typically forms layers called strata. New layers cover up old layers. Dissolved minerals such as calcite and quartz separate from water and pass through the sediments and forms a natural cement. So dissolved minerals make that cement that kind of bonds the bits and pieces of sediments together. All right, so the composition of sedimentary rock, it's classified by the way it forms. So there's three types that we're going to talk about. The first one is a clastic sedimentary rock. So that forms from rocks or mineral fragments that have been cemented or compacted together. But we also have chemical sedimentary rocks that form when minerals crystallized out of a solution, such as seawater, and actually become rock. So we have a chemical sedimentary rock. And then lastly, we have an organic sedimentary rock, and that forms from the remains of once living plants or animals. All right, so let's take a look at some examples of clastic sedimentary rock. So I feel like we've talked a lot about this particular type of sedimentary rock. So you can see over on the left some of the coarser grain sedimentary rock conglomerates. Breccia is also an example that is very similar to a conglomerate, but you can see those little pieces of sediments that have just been compacted together. A conglomerate typically has rounded pebbles, whereas breccia, it's not pictured on here, but breccia has more jagged edged sediments. We also have sandstone, so you can look at the layers of sand that the strata that lined up. We have siltstone and shale. So you can see on the left are our more coarser grained sedimentary, clastic sedimentary rock, all the way to our finer grains. So the grains actually aren't really able to be seen on some of those on the right. All right, so another example of a sedimentary rock is a chemical sedimentary rock. So halite is mainly a sedimentary mineral that usually forms in arid climates where ocean water evaporates. So it's actually a rock, but it has just the one type of mineral, but it's been compacted together. However, many inland lakes, such as the Great Salt Lake of North America and the Dead Sea between Jordan and Israel, are also locations where halite is forming today. Actually, under Lake Erie is a huge salt mine. And so that is where we get a lot of our salt today. So they're mining for it right now under Lake Erie. So an example of halite is pictured below. So we get rock salt. We get it's salt. So the salt that we put in our foods, the salt that we put on the roads in the winter, comes from a sedimentary rock, halite. All right, and the last type of sedimentary rock is the organic sedimentary rock. So, coal is an organic sedimentary rock that formed from the accumulation and preservation of plant materials, usually in a swampy environment. Coal is a combustible rock, and along with oil and natural gas, it is one of the three most important fossil fuels. So you can see in the diagrams, they're mining for coal. It has a wide range of uses. Most important use is for the generation of electricity. So it's combustible, so it creates, when it's burned, it creates a a fuel that we can use. So we can kind of see that's an example of organic sedimentary rock. So coal essentially formed from millions of years um, of plant deposition. All right, so sedimentary rock structures. The most important feature of a sedimentary rock is the stratification. So, stratification is the process in which sedimentary rocks are arranged in layers. Sedimentary rocks sometimes records the motion of wind or water waves on the oceans, rivers, and sand dunes called ripple marks. And you can see a picture of that on the upper right-hand corner. You can actually see the ripple marks on that rock. Mud cracks form when fine grained sediments at the bottom of a shallow body of water are exposed to air and dry out. So you can actually see the mud cracks there. It indicates the location of a lake, stream, or ocean shoreline. So it's kind of a common around here. We've got shallow bodies of water that have slowly dried out, and you'll see the mud cracks around there. Okay, that is all for sedimentary rock.